everyone, welcome back to Dimitra's Dishes. So today I'm so excited to be bringing to you Galaktoboureko, especially since Chris P. Hey Chris, this recipe's for you. You asked me if I have a good Galaktoboureko recipe, and here it is. A bunch of other people also requested it, and here it is. This is perfect for especially Thanksgiving that's coming. We sell so many of these at the restaurant. It's just, I think just as many apple pies and pumpkin pies, we sell Greek custard pies. I make mine in a pie dish. I know traditionally it's made in like a 9 by 13 inch rectangular pan, and you can totally do that. But I'm gonna make it like this. It just looks really festive and perfect for this time of year. We're gonna go over the ingredients and we're gonna get started. It's creamy, it's flaky, and it's a syrupy dessert. And it's very easy to make, very inexpensive to make, and super delicious. So you're gonna need some phyllo. You're gonna need a whole pound of phyllo, and this is a number 4. So try to get that. If you get sheets that are a little too thick, you're gonna run out of sheets while you're making this. So look for the number 4 phyllo. We're gonna use the whole pound of it. Another thing that's really, really important, the phyllo dough is sold in the freezer section of most supermarkets. You wanna make sure you refrigerate it overnight, and then in the morning, take it out and leave it on your counter so it sits at room temperature. Otherwise, it sticks together, and then you're gonna have kind of like a big mess while you're working. As long as you follow those steps, you'll be good to go. You need phyllo. We have 2 eggs and 2 egg yolks. We're gonna use the orange zest for the custard part of it, and we're gonna use the juice for the syrup. Some cinnamon, vanilla extract, a little bit of salt, sugar, fine semolina flour, and you could find that in most the Mediterranean section of your supermarket. A little bit of cornstarch. I have milk that's simmering over here, whole milk, about 4 cups of it, and some butter. So don't worry about the ingredients. The exact amounts are listed on our website always, dimitrasdishes.com, so make sure you check it out after we show you how to make it. So I'm gonna add this to my tabletop mixer. If you don't have one, a big bowl and a whisk will do just fine, but I'm just gonna use it since it's here. I'm gonna add my egg yolks. I'm gonna add my sugar. A little pinch of salt. There's salt in all desserts. Salt is a flavor enhancer. It doesn't make it salty, but it just brings all the flavors together. And then we're gonna add our semolina flour and our cornstarch. And what we're gonna do is we're just gonna beat those up for a few minutes until they're thick and like pale yellow in color. Okay, so the milk is almost at a simmer, and the eggs have beaten really nicely. They're nice and thick and yellow. So once the milk steams like that, you want to take some of it, and we're going to temper this egg mixture right here, which just means, as usual, we're just going to raise the temperature of this so that when we add it to the milk, it'll be nice and creamy. And you won't have scrambled eggs in there because you want it to be really nice and smooth. And now I'm just going to add it all to my pot. Now we're going to cook this over medium heat. You definitely do not want to walk away from this at this point because it's going to thicken quickly, and if you leave it alone, the bottom will burn, and then you're just going to have to start all over because it's going to taste really bad. So just keep stirring it, keep whisking it with your whisk, and once it begins to thicken, we're going to take it off of the heat because it'll continue to cook in the oven. Now, traditionally, we use this pie is made with semolina flour, and I like to keep it that way. Nowadays, a lot of my aunts and a lot of people that I know kind of Americanized it and got rid of the semolina flour, and they use just cornstarch. I don't really like it that way because I like the texture of semolina in this, and I also like the slight difference in flavor. So if you can find it, make sure to use it. There's really no substitute for it. And nowadays it's pretty easy to find. If you can't find it in a Mediterranean market, the Indian and Pakistani grocery stores also have it because it's common. It's a common ingredient in their dishes. And this is ready. It's nice and thick. You don't want it to get too thick because the more it sits, the thicker it's going to get. You're going to feel that the bottom is going to be thicker than the top, but just once you whisk it up, it'll all come together. Now to this, I'm going to add a little bit of vanilla extract. 1 or 2 teaspoons is fine. I never measure vanilla. I don't know. I love it. A little bit of melted butter. And we're going to add the zest of an orange. You can add the zest of a lemon if you like. We'll get all that zest out. See how much more it's thickened just by sitting, just even a few seconds. It's thickened even more. It's going to thicken even more than that. Okay, so now I have my pie dish. This is a 9.5-inch deep dish pie dish, and it's really good for this. And then I like to have a half-sheet baking tray underneath because it makes it safer to put in and take out of the oven. So kind of put something that fits underneath your dish. Now, I'm going to take my phyllo dough out. And never take it out of the package until you're right then and there ready to use it. Because there's no fat in these sheets and they dry up quickly. They'll start crumbling and you'll have a huge mess on your hands. What we're going to do is we're going to pour a little bit of the melted butter on the bottom of our pan. And I'm just going to brush it all around. And we're going to take 4 sheets at a time. If they're stuck together and you get 5, totally fine. And we're going to put half in. Actually, we're going to put most of it in to cover the bottom. And you don't have to brush butter on every layer. This works perfectly. 4 sheets at a time. We're going to go all around, covering the bottom and then the rest hanging out. And then we're going to do butter in between, just a drizzle, just like that. And the final layer, you don't have to butter because the filling is going to go in there. We're going to pour all of our filling. Guess what's going to happen to that later on? Just saying, don't judge, but if you have any leftover, you don't have to scoop every single last drop out of there. It tastes delicious, let me tell you. Okay, we're going to fold this back up, pouring a little bit of butter as we go. Just a little bit. You'll see why in just a minute. And now we're going to take half of the remaining sheets. We're going to put them over the whole pie and just tuck them under. Just a little bit of butter. And then the rest of them on top as well, tuck them under. Just tuck them under. This is going to create a beautiful crust. So you want to take a really sharp serrated knife and you're just going to cut 8 pie servings. So you're going to cut across on top, making sure not to go all the way down to the filling. You just want to go almost down to it. This is going to help you when it's going to be time to serve. And then we're going to pour all the rest of the butter on top, and it's going to go in between each layer. So that way, that's why you don't have to butter every single sheet of phyllo dough. I don't know why they do that. That's totally unnecessary. It's like unnecessary. It's frustrating because the phyllo is sticking and breaking and falling apart. And really, when it bakes in the oven, it gets crispy anyway, so you don't have to do that. Now, we've cut 8 servings on here. If you want to cut them smaller, you can do that. And then we're just going to pour the rest of the butter on top. Isn't that simple? I know you've never seen this before. If Yaya sees this, she might freak out and tell you that's not the way you do it, but trust me, it works. Never tell Yaya she's wrong though. She's right, always, okay? This is perfect. You want to make sure your oven is preheated to 350 degrees, and this is going to bake between 45 minutes to an hour. It's going to turn a beautiful golden color on top. And while it's in the oven, we're going to make our syrup that's going to be drizzled over it once it comes out. I'm going to pop this in the oven and then we'll get to the syrup. So while the pie is cooking, you want to make sure you make your syrup, because when the pie is hot, you want your syrup to have cooled down. Always do hot and cold. One thing has to be hot, the other thing has to be cold. So where the syrup is going to be cold, the pie is going to be hot, and then everything's going to stay crunchy on top. I'm going to put a little bit of sugar, about 1.5 cups in my pot right here in my pan. And then I'll also put a cup of water. And I'm just gonna let this melt and come to a boil. I'm also gonna put a couple tablespoons of orange juice. There's orange zest in the filling and there'll be orange juice in the syrup. We're just gonna let this melt and just come to one boil, and then I'm gonna add the honey to it. Just a half cup of honey, that's all you need to do. And then we're gonna let it cool down and the syrup will be ready. If you wanted to, you could also add a cinnamon stick in here, that would be fine. So it's come to a boil and all the sugar has completely melted. I'm just gonna turn the heat off right now, and I'm gonna add about a half a cup of really good honey. Give it a stir. And once it's all combined, that's it. Your syrup is ready. You want to leave it on the side so that way it can cool. And when your pie is done, we're going to pour it on top. It's just going to be perfect. Okay, so the moment has come. Here it is. It took about almost an hour to be ready. It takes anywhere between 45 minutes to an hour. It all depends on your oven, but you don't want to worry about the time. You want to look at the color. This is the color you're looking for. You want it to be, first of all, it's going to rise and just fluff up really beautifully. And then it's going to get this beautiful golden color all around. It's going to be super crispy. Now, you don't want to wait to pour the syrup on here because, again, you want a hot pie and cool syrup. So now this time, we're going to cut all the way through down to the bottom with our serrated knife because you want the syrup to go throughout the whole pie. I wish you could smell this. Actually, I can't wait till you make it and you smell this and your house smells like this. It's indescribable. It's so good. I could smell the orange in here. Definitely you can smell the butter. Now we're just going to pour the syrup all over the top. Now if you wanted to, you can make an extra batch of this syrup and put it in sort of like a little gravy boat or in any kind of really pretty thing, so that way when everybody takes a slice later on, when it's absorbed, you can kind of drizzle a little bit more syrup on top. That's really nice too. And now we're going to put a really generous dusting of ground cinnamon on top. Who would not want to see this on their holiday table? Comment down below if you don't want to see this on your holiday table. Comment down below if you want to see it on your holiday table and what else you want to see on there. So you're supposed to you're supposed to let this sit for a little while so it can set, but I'm just going to cut into it. Okay, so the custard pie has cooled a little bit more, about 30 minutes. It's best if you wait at least 45 minutes to an hour so it can finally set. But I think we could get in there so I could show you all the magical goodness inside of this. Yep, we can. Look at that. You could seriously see the specks of the orange zest in here. Let me put this on here. And it's nice and crispy on top. And super duper creamy inside. So good. Now if you had a little bit more of the syrup, if you want to make a little bit extra, you could drizzle it on top. But I'm going to go into it right now and see what it tastes like. I'll get some of the crispy edge over here. See? You hear how crispy it is? That's what it should sound like. Oh my God, this is so good. This is one of the best desserts ever. Trust me. Put this on your holiday table. If you want to make an apple pie and then a custard pie side by side and do a test and see who likes, which one people like better, let me know in the comment section down below. I'm going to have a few more bites of this. You guys get the recipe and test it out before you make it for your guests on my website, www.dimitrasdishes.com. Hey, Crispy, let me know how it turns out, okay? Bye, everyone. See you next time.